When a man has no one but God, there comes a moment in a man's life when the noise fades. Not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly. Friends stop calling, plans fall apart. Doors that once seemed open quietly close. And one day, he realizes something he never thought he would have to face. He has no one left. This is where Daniel found himself. Once his life had been full. People relied on him. He was respected, trusted, needed. He had been the one others turned to when things fell apart. The strong one, the steady one. But strength has a cost. When Daniel lost his job, the first people to disappear were the ones who said they would always be there. When his marriage ended, even his closest friends did not know what to say, so they said nothing at all. Silence replaced conversation. Distance replaced comfort. At first, Daniel told himself it was temporary, that things would return to normal, that life would correct itself. But weeks turned into months, and the silence stayed. At night, his small apartment felt larger than it should have. The walls echoed with thoughts he could not escape. Regret, fear, questions with no answers. He tried to pray, but prayer felt different when there was no one else to lean on. No safety net, no reassurance from another human voice. God, he whispered one night, sitting on the floor with his back against the wall. I don't know how I got here. There was no thunder, no sudden comfort, just quiet. And for the first time in his life, Daniel understood what it meant to be completely alone. Days passed. Daniel moved through them like a shadow of who he once was. He avoided mirrors. He avoided memories. He avoided people. He told himself he didn't need anyone. But the truth was harder. He needed someone, and there was no one left, except God. At first, that realization frightened him, because God felt invisible, silent, unreachable. It was easier to trust people you could see. But slowly, something began to change. One evening, after another day that felt heavier than the last, Daniel opened an old Bible he had not touched in years. Not because he felt faithful, but because he felt desperate. He did not search for comfort. He did not look for answers. He simply opened the pages and read. And for the first time, the words felt personal. Stories of men who lost everything, men who were misunderstood, men who stood alone while the world moved on without them. Daniel realized something that shook him. God often does his deepest work when a man has no one else to rely on, when there are no distractions, no applause, no false security, just faith or nothing at all. One night, exhaustion overcame him, and Daniel fell asleep with the Bible open beside him. He dreamed. In the dream, he was walking through a long, narrow valley. The ground was uneven, and the sky above was dim. He called out, but his voice echoed back to him, empty. Is anyone there? He shouted. No answer. Then he saw a figure walking beside him, not ahead, not behind, beside him. Why didn't you come sooner? Daniel asked, his voice breaking. Why did you let everyone leave? The figure answered calmly. They left so you could finally see who stayed. Daniel stopped walking. I don't feel strong enough to do this alone. The figure turned to him and said words Daniel would never forget. You are not alone. You are just no longer distracted. When Daniel woke, his heart was racing. Something inside him had shifted. His life did not suddenly improve. His problems did not disappear. He was still alone in the eyes of the world, but for the first time, he did not feel abandoned. He began to pray differently, not asking God to fix everything, but asking him to stay close. He spoke honestly, without performance. without pretending to be strong. God, he said one morning, if you are all I have, then teach me how to trust you. And God did, not with miracles, but with presence. Daniel began to notice small things, peace that arrived without explanation, strength on days he thought he had none, clarity in moments that once felt chaotic. When a man has no one but God, pride has nowhere to hide. And in that humility, something powerful is born. Daniel learned that loneliness can either destroy a man or strip him down to who he was always meant to be. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, Daniel rebuilt his life, not on approval, not on expectations, not on the need to be needed, but on faith. He became quieter, more grounded, less afraid. And one day someone asked him, how did you survive when everything fell apart? Daniel thought for a moment before answering. I stopped trying to save myself, he said, and I let God be enough. When a man has no one but God, he discovers that God has always been enough, not because life becomes easy, but because the soul becomes anchored. And blessed is the man who learns in the silence and the loss that when everyone else leaves, God remains, always.